Mommy, look at that car.
It's nice, isn't it?
Can I drive it?
Yes, you can. Look, lady, there's no way I'm letting your kid drive my car. How dare you! r/entitled parents. Our first story we'll be reading today. Karen, I don't care if your 5-year-old plays Mario Kart. He can't drive my mom's minivan. From user Ian Bott was here. After that, entitled Mothers at the Zoo. From user Sunshine. And then we'll be finishing up with entitled Coworker bullies and embarrasses me and other coworkers. Gets knocked down a peg by administration. From Did I Ask You? Thank you so much to our authors for letting us read your stories. And if you're an author who would like to hear your stories on the channel, please submit them on the r/Mr. Reddit subreddit. And welcome to the newest members of the Re-Army, Ariskari, Jimmy, and Renee. And if you're new, join the Re-Army by subscribing and turning on notifications so you don't miss a thing. Karen, I don't care if your 5-year-old plays Mario Kart. He can't drive my mom's minivan. Hello, Mr. Reddit. Hope you're having a Karenless day if this is on YouTube. Thanks. Okay, now let's begin. Background. I was going to Home Depot. We needed a new carpet with my dad and little brother after church because it was Sunday. I'm one of those people who don't care what you wear to church. So my dad and little brother go into Home Depot and I stay in the car because me and my dad don't get along well. It's not a bad relationship. It's just we argue a lot. And an angsty teen mixed with an adult man don't go along well, especially when we have the same personality, according to my mom. So I'm in my mom's minivan. My dad's was blocked by my older sisters. When I hear a small child say,
Mommy, look at that car.
And so it begins now. It's time to get ready to Karen. Our cast. We've got me. We've got Karen, crazy entitled lady who deserves your house. The entitled kid. The bratty 5-year-old who thinks because he was in one of those car carts means he knows how to drive. And S, the angel sent down by God to help smite all Karens. It's nice, isn't it?
Can I drive it, Mommy?
I'm in the passenger seat just like, yeah, right. No way this lady is letting her kid in to drive a car that isn't hers. But she goes to the driver's side and reaches for the handle. So me, being the quick-witted 15-year-old, quickly hit the lock all doors button on the passenger side. I don't know what it's actually called. And it locked all the doors. All this did was make Karen mad. She looked up and saw me because somehow she didn't see me and said, You there, boy. Let me in now. Yeah, I'm gonna have to say no to that.
Mommy, I want to drive.
You will soon. She then looks at me and says the dumbest thing I have ever heard. You better let me in now, or else I will call the police for my stolen car. At that point, I was done. Yeah, still no. 1, it's not your property. 2, I don't know you. And 3, I'm not letting that kid drive because there's no way he knows how to drive at like 5 years old. Oh, it's fine. He plays Mario Kart. He'll be fine. Okay, scratch what I said earlier. That is the dumbest thing I have ever heard. So dumb, in fact, I'm pretty sure it gave me an aneurysm out of sheer stupidity. Someone must have seen what was going on, because a security guard came over.
Ma'am, what's going on here?
Karen, with a smirk on her face. Oh, hello, sir. My oldest son, Trevor, locked me out and won't let me in. What? Lady, I don't even know you. Trevor, stop yelling. My name isn't Trevor.
Young man, can you prove this?
Oh, heck yeah, I can. I pull out my wallet and show him my high school student ID.
Ma'am, I'm going to have to ask you to stay while I call the police.
Karen realizes she messed up and books it, but the security guard just walked out and came back. Did you let them get away?
Yeah.
Why?
Because I got a picture of her license plate.
I was so happy with this guy's clever move, and when my dad came out with my little brother, we told him the whole story. So I got free Tim Hortons. Yay, Canada. Oh, and we will be pressing charges because that lady is insane. And if you want to hear about it, I will update it. Next up, we've got entitled Mothers at the Zoo. This happened several months ago, but I have a very good memory, so I remember it very well. There will be 2 stories in this post, although they're both kind of short. For background, my boyfriend and I went to the zoo with his older sister on the free day. The zoo was crowded and it was insanely hot considering that it was in the middle of winter. Anyway, I digress. As we are walking along, we passed the sea lion enclosure, which had a large open top so that people could get close to the sea lions who were currently sunning themselves and playing with a large ball. We stopped for a moment to watch, and I look over to the side because I see something moving close to the railing. There is a mother with a child who is no more than 2 years old who is holding this child up over the railing with his legs hanging over the inside of the enclosure. I was shocked, of course, but the situation was quickly handled by a security guard who was reprimanding the mother. I didn't catch all of what was said because it was quite loud and we had started to move away already. But I did catch her saying that she had a right to hold her child and that he was too small to see what was going on and wanted to play with the sea lions. Later on in the day, we decided to stop and take a few photos in a little photo booth. It was really cramped as both my boyfriend and his sister are tall and muscular. So we all squeeze inside this little photo booth and start taking our pictures. That's when I see little hands sneaking through the curtains and trying to enter the booth. I ignored it until I feel those same little hands grabbing at my boots and pulling them. This was rather disruptive and rude, but I continued to ignore it. And then 2 tiny little faces popped through the curtain. My boyfriend looks at the kids and asks them what they are doing.
We want to take pictures. It's our turn now. You've been in here forever.
I roll my eyes because this is just little children being dramatic and rude. My boyfriend shoos the children away and we finish taking our pictures and manage to unfold ourselves from the booth. As we wait for the photos to come out, we see the little children again. They're hovering next to the little slot where the pictures come out and giggling to themselves. We ignored them again and just waited for the pictures. As soon as they came out, the kids grabbed them and tried to bolt, but my boyfriend just grabbed them by the collars and took the photos from them. They started crying and screaming and kicking at both me and my boyfriend. His sister stayed out of the way. Smart woman. We locate the mother of these 2 little banshees standing several feet away and looking at her phone. She seemed completely disinterested in what her children were doing and not even aware of where they were. My boyfriend scoops up the 2 wailing banshees and drops them in front of their mother. She starts immediately screaming at my boyfriend.
How dare you touch my children?
Your children have been harassing me and my family and stole our photos.
They're just playing. And besides, it's only some photos. It's not like it's anything important. You can just take a selfie.
My boyfriend is an amazingly patient person, and he really doesn't enjoy arguing with stupid people. So he simply tells her to watch her kids and then walks away. We leave and enjoy the rest of our day. I know this wasn't crazy or super intense, but I hope you enjoyed it. And our final story of the day, entitled Coworker Bullies and Embarrasses Me and Other Coworkers, Gets Knocked Down a Peg by Administration. Hi, Mr. Reddit. I enjoy your videos and decided that my first ever Reddit post should be on your subreddit. I apologize for formatting if it's incorrect. If there are any changes that need to be made, please let me know in the comments. English is my native language, so I will do my best with grammar and spelling. This story is long, sorry, but I am a stickler for details. This just happened, so it's fresh in my brain and is something that has been coming to a head for months. Backstory. I'm a librarian in teen services in a public library. The community we cater to is fairly big, housing one of the largest school districts in this portion of the state. Many patrons visit in the course of the day, making us very busy, especially as it gets closer to the summer. I started here a little over 2 years ago. This community, however, is pretty affluent and has families who are well off. It's not an uncommon occurrence to have entitled people during the day, but everyone does their best to maintain a professional demeanor. Everyone except my coworker. For this story, he will be dubbed Gary. Gary has a history of also being entitled and is the only person in the department who thinks he is the best example of a librarian to ever live. He has worked in the building for almost 12 years, the longest out of anyone in teen services, but he is still only a part-time librarian like I am. Gary won't hesitate to talk down to anyone he feels is below him, which is almost everyone, and will put on his best butt-kisser face to anyone in authority over him and play favorites with patrons and make it extremely obvious. He will listen to someone talk and throw them under the bus so hard at the first opportunity that person wouldn't have time to feel it. The perfect two-face. I try to avoid Gary as much as I possibly can and keep exchanges with him short, sweet, and to the point. I don't go into detail about anything in my personal life with him or talk about someone in the workplace. I know his game. But these last two instances, after many prior, Gary had gone much too far and finally got caught in the act by the one person with the most power in the entire library. Our cast. We've got me. We've got Gary, the obnoxious and self-important coworker. And then we've got coworkers 1 and 2, also librarians, but full-time and have authority over me and Gary, along with the library director. Story. Friday nights at the library are the busiest of the week. In this one program, we can have an upwards of 65 teens in one room with 3 librarians and a security guard to wrangle them. One runs the main program, and the others try to maintain as much order as possible. This time, I am the librarian in charge of the night. It's the Anime Club's event, and I am the librarian who coordinates the club. I am running a Kahoot, trivia challenge that allows the winners to win prizes. They get very competitive during games, so there is the normal trash talking, yelling when they get an answer right or wrong, as well as the normal chatter of a room full of 50-plus teenagers. After one very intense round, a winner is declared, which causes a bunch of cheers, jeers, and laughter from the group. I'm honestly having a great time with them, and they're really into it. Unfortunately, the good couldn't last long. Into the room storms Gary, looking as pompous and self-important as always. From across the room and over the heads of everyone I'm running this program for, he yells at me.
OP, it's too loud in here. You should know better. I'm closing the doors here since I have people studying in the next room. Really? You're running the program. Control them better.
Gary, it's a Friday night program. They're allowed to have fun.
Where's coworker 1?
I don't know. Saw her walk out of the room for something. I ignore him after that and continue the games, feeling my face get red from embarrassment from being yelled at in front of everyone and being yelled at in general. I hate confrontation and knew I was going to be in a bad mood for the rest of the night. The teens at least cheered me up by turning the rest of the trivia and movie watching into a game where if someone is too loud, then someone else will act like Gary and yell at them. It did manage to at least make me smile again. That same night, fast forward an hour, my main part is done and everyone's watching an anime movie I pulled for the night, Princess Mononoke, if anyone wanted to know. Now I'm assisting the other coworkers with the rest of the room when 2 boys we know come in. It's almost past admittance time, and coworker 1 was telling them as such when Gary comes literally running into the room, yelling,
Nope, absolutely not.
pointing at the 2 boys.
These 2 have been trouble for me in the other room this entire night. They cannot be allowed to come into the room tonight.
I am standing there in shock, trying not to nervous smile and or laugh at the outrageous reaction I just saw. Coworker 1 is looking just as flabbergasted, but composes herself first. Also a non-confrontational person, she talks to the boys and tells them that she has to take Mr. Gary's word since we weren't there earlier. The boys looked sad and said that they wanted to join in the program so they wouldn't get in trouble elsewhere in the building. We didn't want to turn them away, but felt like we were forced to, with Gary hovering over us like a hawk. The end of that night, I spoke to coworker 1 about the incident I had with Gary before the one we both experienced. She said she would tell the department head about it. As a result, everyone who worked on a Friday night were told to come in for a meeting where common courtesy was spoken about, and that everyone was told to respect each other and not to interfere with a librarian helping a patron, running a program, or doing a one-on-one appointment for special technologies unless it's an emergency. If you feel a librarian is conducting a program not to the best of their abilities, you talk to them privately and do not humiliate them on the public floor. Everyone at this meeting knew Gary was the person being quietly called out here, but it wasn't until later that I realized it was all for naught. Another Friday night rolls around. I'm scheduled outside of the program room, and Gary is the person running the program. Before my dinner break, he corners me in the department office.
OP, tonight you're in the fiction room. You stay there tonight since it's not your program to run. Tonight is my night, and I don't want your usual interfering.
It takes a second of me staring at this man in disbelief before I can control the rising anger and keep my cool. All right, Gary. Though, if it's an emergency, I will go to coworker 1 or coworker 2 tonight. Don't worry, I won't come to you at all.
Good. It seems that meeting did do its job.
He looks all smug and swaggers out of the office. Before I leave, coworker 2 comes in and asks if I was all right. She saw me with Gary and knew by the look on my face as he was talking that he had said something I didn't like. This woman is my work mom. Gary told me, between the lines, that the meeting we had for Friday Night Librarians was for me. Her face was priceless. She responds, "He told me the other day that he didn't know why he had to go to that meeting since it clearly wasn't meant for either him or me. Seriously, this guy doesn't get it." I just roll my eyes and tell her that I'll see her after my dinner break. Turns out this dinner break is my saving grace. As I am heating my food in the staff kitchen, in walks the library director. "Hi, OP. Long time no see. How are you?" "I'm good. Thank you, library director. Are you working tonight?" "Yes. It's the Board of Trustees meeting at 8:30 till 10, so I need to stick around." The light bulb lights up in my brain. "Tonight is karaoke night for the Friday teen program. Why don't you come down and take a peek? Some are pretty good, and others make a parody of it, and it's honestly hilarious." Library director says she will come down later to me, and we can go watch an act or two together. I agree and continue with my dinner. The moment of truth. Halfway through the program, library director comes down, greets everyone in the room I'm in, before allowing me to leave my post to escort her to the program. I open the door, first for her, and enter quietly, not wanting to throw off the teen singing. Not even halfway into the room, Gary immediately homes in on me like a heat-seeking missile and does what he does best and goes off the rails in marvelous fashion.
What are you doing in here? I told you to stay in that other room. You don't belong in here and should know better than to come in during a performance. What is wrong with you?"
I didn't even flinch right now since I was expecting it, and the voice behind me put a sickly sweet smile on my face. Library director says, "Gary, I think we should talk out here for a few minutes. OP, feel free to go inside and listen. I will be right there." The look on Gary's face is miserable as he realizes who spoke to him. I slide into the room and quickly mutter to coworker 2 what happened, and we give each other a small high five. Gary is still working at the library, but he does have a write-up on his file for disrespecting fellow professionals after speaking to the head of department, who also couldn't do so much since this whole time we're intimidated by Gary and his antics. He still works at the library and has apologized to me in person. I took it with a grain of salt, but I am civil with him to where we can talk about the work shift without the tension eating up in the room. He's not cured, but he is more bearable because his job could literally be on the line. Finally, I have had patron encounters and programs without him butting his nose into my business like a normal librarian.
Turn on that notification bell, or I'm going to interrupt you at your job.
And congrats to our re-generals of the day, Chrissy UD, Diesel D261, and Corsi Husky. That's all for now, but don't be blue. I'll be back soon with more stories for you. Remember to listen to Mr. Reddit every night so your dreams will be wonderful like you are and bright.